Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, here we go again. It seems like this happens all the time. Mercury's about to go retrograde again. Now, Mercury really and truly only goes retrograde for 3 weeks, 3 to 4 times a year, but it seems like it's every month. It just seems like it comes upon us and it feels like we just finished with Mercury retrograde. But yes, it's coming again. So it's time to prepare because there's actually a period weeks before the retrograde that Mercury goes into the shadow phase. In other words, it goes into the degrees when it's going forward that it's going to cover when it goes backwards and covers those degrees. Regardless, the day it goes retrograde or direct, it doesn't just cut off. So don't feel like, oh, Mercury's direct today. Not really. It still has this like overlay of a period weeks before and weeks after. But the intensity of the cycle is definitely when it is retrograde. And it seems like I'm always talking about retrograde planets. They're so important, and particularly the day that they station to go either direct or retrograde is monumental. Because what happens is when a planet changes direction, people change. They change their opinions, they change the direction and the course of their life. And when a planet is retrograde, it's time to really look deep within as to what that retrograde's bringing back. Because retrogrades are unfinished business, especially when you have them retrograde in your natal planets. It's unfinished business that you brought into this lifetime from the past. And you're here to heal it, resolve it, and work on it. So when a planet goes retrograde in the sky, it similarly means the same thing. It is time to go back and work on the things that are left undone, that need healing. So anything that you've left undone will surface with Mercury retrograde, because Mercury rules what? The thinking mind. So we change our mind, we become more absent-minded, we lose things, we make miscommunications, and traveling's always a nuisance. Seems like there's always a mechanical or canceled flights. Things happen that concern Mercury. Things go haywire. What else does Mercury rule besides travel and communications? Anything that deals with communications, which is what? Computers, phones, any kind of technology. So you're going to find it's time to back up your computer. Again, that's why I want you to know this information ahead of time, not wait till it's already in full process. So yes, it's a time that you're going to have to pay attention more. And it's also a time to finish up old projects. It's not necessarily the time to begin new, but to finish up the old, because that's what retrogrades are. Going back, reviewing, reflecting, taking everything from RE, anything that deals with going back and redoing it, reworking it, reanalyzing it, everything. So here's the thing. Let me give you the dates that Mercury is going to be retrograde. So it's going to turn retrograde October 4th, and it will be at 17 degrees of Libra. And it will turn direct November 3rd at 1 degree Libra. So in the sidereal Vedic sidereal Vedic charts, when we're looking at anything I'm talking about, it's always going to be sidereally, not tropical Western astrology. So did you know, though, that every time a planet goes retrograde, for not a planet, but particularly Mercury, when it goes retrograde within a year, it always stays in the same element. And this year, it's going to be in air signs. So it's in Libra. And before it was the time that it was retrograde in February through March, it was in Aquarius. And the time it was retrograde in the summer, in June, it was in Gemini. And now we have it in Libra. So what are these air signs all about? Communications, absolutely 100%. It's how we connect to people. And actually the houses that are relative to these air signs are, the third house is relative to Gemini, which deals with our communications in general. The seventh house, which deals with our communications with our partner, is Libra, relative to Libra. And the 11th sign in the 11th house is Aquarius, which deals with our communications with friends and groups and organizations. But for now, I want to say generally that we need to work on relationships this Mercury retrograde, because it is wholly in the sign of Libra. So it goes retrograde on October 14th at 17 degrees of Libra, and it turns direct November 3rd at 1 degree of Libra. Does November 3rd ring a bell about anything that's going to be happening in the United States by any chance? Well, it is, because that's election day. I know I've said this many times before, but I gotta say it again. The last time that Mercury stationed to go direct on election day was in the year of 2000 between Gore and Bush. We didn't know who the president was for weeks after the election. This will happen again. This is Mercury stationing. It's changing directions. So guess what? Something on the day changes dramatically. So that's why I say we're not necessarily going to know who the president is. And with Mars being retrograde at the same time, there is a lot that we have to review, revisit, reanalyze, and probably recount. Recount the votes. So that's what I'm seeing with this Mercury retrograde. I do like Libra being the sign that it's in, because when I think about the sign of Libra, I'm thinking about balance in relationships. So that's a really powerful thing to think about. During this time, we're trying to bring balance to the world. We're trying to organize things, make it better. Libra, when I think about it, is a sign of balance and justice. Just think about the symbol for Libra. It is the scale for balance. And that's what we're trying to revisit, regroup, and bring together, a sense of balance during this time. So, as with many Mercury retrogrades, every few months, I always give you a little keynote as to what you can expect depending on if your moon or your rising are in a particular sign. How is this going to affect you? So before you start listening, if you do not know your Vedic sidereal ascendant or moon, look it up. And one place you can look it up is on my website. I have a free chart calculator. It clearly tells you what your ascendant is and your moon sign. You do need to know your time of birth. So otherwise, you could possibly just put in noon on the day you were born and see where your moon is, unless it's about to change signs in the middle of the day. One way or another, find out the correct one to listen to. So let me start with Libra. Let me tell you, if you have a moon or your ascendant is in Libra, this means Mercury's in your first house. This is playing havoc on you. You will be a little bit more prone to be forgetful, lose things. Make sure your mind is clear when you make plans with other people. Mark down dates. Double check yourself, because this is your sign is most prone to have mess ups. And your communications with your partner particularly could get misunderstood. Because remember, we've got to really work on being conscious, aware, and clear-headed when Mercury is retrograde in order to overcome the obstacles. And it's really a time to review, maybe even because the first house deals with your physical appearance. Maybe it's time to go in and clean out that closet and find a better look, because Mercury is in Libra. You know how to dress, but Mercury being in there, it's time to really get rid of a lot of the clothes that probably just need to go. So, and find a new look. That's going to be what Mercury in your first house will mean. So if your ascendant or your moon is in Scorpio, then this means that Mercury is going to be in your 12th house. And with that means things from the past will come up, old memories, old feelings, people from your past. Plus, it is time possibly for you to clear out all of the grievances that you've been having with people. You know, the 12th house is endings, and pay attention to your dreams, because the 12th house deals with vivid dreams. Mercury being there, you'll have very cognitive dreams that can really be giving you a lot of information to help heal and clear out issues in your life. So if your ascendant or your moon are in Sagittarius, then this means that Mercury is going retrograde in your 11th house. And this would be a time for you to really close out some deals, clear out some deals with some friends that possibly you haven't been coming together with. And it can be a time that you will come together, so replan, get together, anything to do with old friends that you haven't been seeing lately, but it's on your list to go back and visit with them, because Mercury retrograde is a time to revisit this. That's what I'm trying to say. Revisit old friends from the past. You'll find that there's something positive that comes out of it. And it's time to renegotiate possibly some issues with an older sibling. That's the 11th house. And I get that a lot of your dreams, your hopes, everything that you've been working on, your goals, it's time to revisit those and reanalyze in order to make plans for the future. So if your ascendant or your moon's in Capricorn, then this means that Mercury is in the 10th house, which Capricorns love this. It's time to regroup, reanalyze, reflect on your purpose, your career, and the changes that are about to ensue during this year. So you're making a lot of plans. Don't enact with them yet, but make the plans, review and revitalize all of the issues around your work. So if your ascendant or your moon is in Aquarius, then this means that you're having Mercury retrograde in your 9th house, which the 9th house means you may be redoing, making some plans for trips that you've had to discontinue over the past year, definitely with the COVID thing. So you're starting to make plans for travel, and it's not necessarily the time that you will be traveling, possibly with Mercury there, but it's time for you to revisit where you need to be going. Plus, this is your spiritual beliefs. You're reassessing that, changing how you believe. And I want to say there can be some reconnection with your father. Whether he's here or not, you'll be thinking about him. So if your ascendant or your moon is in Pisces, then this means that Mercury's retrograding in your 8th house. And this is a time to reanalyze all that research, that digging down of finding the answers you've been looking for, especially with healing psychologically or with studying metaphysical subjects. Remember, the 8th house deals with deep metaphysical work. And this can be the time that you pick it up again and start revisiting where you left off before. It's time to revisit your healing, your work psychologically, and your study metaphysically. So if your ascendant or your moon are in Aries, then this means Mercury is retrograde in your 7th house. It's time to revisit some issues with your partner. If you're not with somebody, then this will mean you'll be thinking about someone that you're making plans to possibly meet, or dreaming about that future partner. It's time to sit down and analyze what you really need and want out of a partner. That way you'll be ready when you meet them. Otherwise, if you have a relationship, then it definitely means that you're going to compromise, you're going to come together, with some things that have been put on the back burner. So revisit that. Remember, Libra is the sign of compromise. So if your ascendant or your moon are in Taurus, then this means that Mercury is going retrograde in your 6th house. And this means that it's time not to make any brand new plans with your work, but to finish up all the old projects that have been left hanging. And it's a time that really you can organize yourself better and start making the plans about how you're going to get fit, how you're going to eat, how you're going to take better care of yourself. This is a time to really revisit that. So if your ascendant or your moon sign are in Gemini, then this means this Mercury retrogrades in your 5th house. And this could be a time for you to revisit with your children. If you don't have children, it's time to bring back an old idea and revisit it, complete it. It's going to be a success, but remember this, it's not the time to start it, but revisit it, revamp it, get it going to where you're going to be doing something with this once Mercury turns direct. So if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Cancer, then this means that Mercury is going retrograde in your 4th house. This deals with home, family. There's things that have to be redone possibly in your house that you've been working on. So maybe some construction. Or maybe it's time for you to make peace with your mother. There's something that maybe is left undone. And this can mean whether or not she's here or not, because all healing really starts within us, not within talking to the other person. It's how we feel about it, adjusting ourselves and healing our attitudes towards relationships. If your moon or your ascendant is in the sign of Leo, then this means that Mercury's retrograde in your 3rd house. And the 3rd house dealing specifically with communications, this means that there's a major healing and reconditioning with how you see things and communicate with people. It is a wonderful time to revisit the past by journaling, looking at what you can do and write. You know, I feel like when you really write, and just write whatever comes to you, you will begin channeling. And channeling means your higher self gives you the information that you need to improve and make your life better. Now's the time to really contemplate how you are going to change your life through the prospect of your communications and use writing as a vehicle. If your moon or your ascendant are Virgo, then this means that your Mercury is going to be retrograding in your 2nd house. And this is an amazing time for finances, money that will come to you. You will come up with new, valuable ideas on how to make money, how to change your life in the area of finances. So it's time to redo all of the financial situations in your life. Now's the time to analyze the books, because you're going to see things differently. So with that, I'd like to close. If you need more information on me, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. And remember, if you're interested in studying Vedic astrology, this is the answer. Go to my university all online courses, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.